Can you give them the Madera County Prime Gov, blah, blah, blah?
Yes, absolutely. So good morning, everyone. The URL to go ahead and get logged in is going to be maderacounty.primegov.com. And I'll share that toward the end of this slideshow that I'm showing here. But again, that's maderacounty.primegov with a P.com. Just let me skip over to that slide. Actually, I'll have that up on the screen in just a moment.
Hold on. Once y'all get to log in. Yeah. If they're logged in. No, it's gonna be YouTube. It is accessible to the public, yes. It won't be part of the meeting archive, so. A minute. Easy. The board can
Yes.
see what we're presenting. It's not displaying to the public. We'll figure that out in a minute. In the meantime, can you go ahead and begin so our board can get their training?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get this started. I'll begin with resuming this recording that will be sent out after today's
Recording in
call.
progress.
And welcome everyone and good morning. The purpose of today's training is, of course, our board member training. My name is Ezekiel Robles. Feel free to call me Easy or Zeke for short, but I'm the implementation consultant who's been working with your awesome clerks department to get this one meeting software up and running.
Okay, easy, real
so-
quick. We're gonna have the board open the meeting and call it in order.
Okay.
Your mic is off, Supervisor Wheeler.
Oh, there it goes now.
Boop, boop.
It's
Whoopie,
on
whoopie.
now. I call this board meeting to order on 8:40 this morning.
Carry
8:06.
on, Easy. Thank
Okay.
you.
No problem. All right, and so for today's training, the way it'll work is I'll start with this slideshow here where I'll kind of walk through some items that we'll be discussing today, and then I'll dive into a live meeting demonstration where I'll demonstrate what we can expect to see as members in the system, and we'll be able to practice a few rounds of what it looks like in a test meeting I have prepared for us. So hopefully that will get us up and running for that meeting we have shortly thereafter. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this slideshow that I have here. First slide that we have is really just touching on, the name change we have. So you may have heard the name PrimeGov or One Meeting. Just know that the names are synonymous. We are currently going through a name change. So again, PrimeGov and One Meeting are the same thing. In terms of our agenda for today, we'll start with some training objectives. I'll talk a little bit about a One Meeting overview. We'll also discuss the impact of this system. We've already talked a little bit about how we can get started by accessing the system. But the last piece is, again, that live system training or demonstration. All right, so for our objectives, just to start, number one is, of course, to get familiar with the areas of the PrimeGov or One Meeting system. So depending on your level of access, what you can view and where you can go is going to vary. But what we'll be focusing on today for our members is really that dashboard you see when you're first logging in, your meeting viewer that you'll go to access a live meeting, as well as that search portal just to get a view of the public's perspective. So we'll talk about navigating those three areas for objective number one. The second one is to learn how to use this system during a live meeting instance. So there's three important areas within our live meeting area that I'll hone in on, and that's going to be our notes that can be taken specific to a member, as well as the ability to record your own motion second that motion or ask your vote as your clerks are working through items. And then the last piece, I'll also demonstrate how our members can request to speak during a meeting. And then our last objective, again, is just to get everything that you need to get started. So that's going to include this recording, along with a relevant training guide specific to our members to help you get comfortable with this new process. All right, so a little bit of an overview of One Meeting PrimeGov. What we do is we provide world-class legislative management solutions. So our product enables organizations like Madera County to manage the various components related to that legislative process. And so that's things like agenda management, live meeting management, as well as minutes management. So with our product, we also have live meeting streaming, like we've talked about, as well as the publishing of meeting documentation. So really the idea is that One Meeting or PrimeGov is going to give the county that end-to-end solution. All right, so when we're talking about the kind of a high-level process of our system, it can be broken apart into three large chunks here. So we have that first piece where the meeting's created, staff submits those board letters, and those are approved through those approval steps until our clerks eventually post that approved agenda to the public, and then finally we actually have that meeting. So what we're focusing on today is, again, the instance that those first two chunks have already taken place. We're acting as if the meeting is actually taking place. And again, this is where we will not only be recording our motions, but voting as well. All right, so when we talk about the impact that this will have on our agency, number one is an updated process. And I know we had a previous system and we did the things a certain way. We might be doing things a little bit differently here, but we really shouldn't be losing anything in that transition. The second impact is, we are aiming for, of course, more automation and features. So hopefully it's making everyone's life a little bit easier and not the opposite. And then the last impact is for us just to be mindful and patient with our clerk and our clerk team. It's a new product, not only for ourselves, but really everyone.
Easy.
So we'll all kind of get learned. Yeah.
Can I pause you for a moment? I have a supervisor with a question.
No, it's
Absolutely.
for IT. My screen is
black.
black now. You can keep going. I'm just gonna.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no worries. And so that's really it for our slides here. This is that last slide I already showed. For anyone who hasn't accessed your environment, remember that you can do so by heading over to that designated URL. That's maderacounty.primegov.com. And then we do have that single sign-on integration for your agency. So you should never have to enter an email and password. You'll always just want to select that sign in with my. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our environment. Again, if we head over to that URL I mentioned, it should take us to this login page here. We'll see that Madera County logo in the top left. We can select our sign-in option here. I'm going to go ahead and sign in the old-fashioned way, but what I'm logged into is my profile that is also set up as a member. So again, your permissions might vary if someone has maybe a little bit more access, but for most of us, we're going to see what we have here. So this will be our dashboard. For someone who's like a clerk, they'd have, of course, a lot more visibility. Our members will have a more minimal view. You'll know you're logged in because you'll have your name in the top right-hand corner. But the piece that we want to focus on today is going to be in the top left. We'll have this meetings and committees option. So this is going to give us access to different pages in the system. This first page here is the one we're focused on today. That's going to be our meeting viewer that will show us any live meetings or meetings that are scheduled. So by selecting this, that will go ahead and open up an entirely new tab for us that will show us those meetings. So by going into the meeting viewer, we'll see any meetings scheduled for today at the top of our list. So we see that board member training, that test meeting I was mentioning that we can practice hopping into first. But you'll also see that meeting that the official meeting, the one that's scheduled here at 8:15 as well. Just beneath, you'll see any upcoming meetings, so those in the future, as well as those that have already passed. So again, as members, just visual into kind of these different meetings. If that meeting has already been started by our clerks, another quick way to navigate to it will be to select this play button or play icon in the top right-hand corner. So you're going to notice that there's a number there reflecting the number of live meetings that are currently happening for the County of Madera. So if we were to look in the top right, you'll see we have a number 5. That's because we currently have a couple of test meetings going, but really what this does is it allows us to navigate and hop from one meeting to another. So if anyone's logged in, you can feel free practicing now by heading over to that board member training meeting. And you'll see that it will go ahead and take you into what we refer to as the live meeting area. Now, should 2 meetings happen simultaneously for whatever reason, you'll see again, you can easily navigate back and forth from one to another. So just like that, I went from our test meeting to that official one. But again, for now, we'll stick in that training environment just because I want to walk through the process of a meeting without actually affecting the real one. But starting off, what we're going to see here is our system agenda. And again, this is what we refer to as the live meeting area. So when we're talking about the system agenda, this should be unique to this specific meeting, meaning the agenda that our clerks prepared with those specific headings, sections, or items that will be on that agenda. So first thing, in terms of the view, each member can change their view to be specific to them. So in the top left-hand corner, you'll notice the ability to collapse or uncollapse your item. You'll notice this gives you an expanded view if you want more details, for example, under the closed session, or if you wanted to see a motion or vote that's already been reported, this uncollapsed view will give you those details. The other piece is in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to have the ability to adjust your font size. So again, if you want to just make that a bit larger, you're working on maybe a smaller screen there, you can always adjust that, and that's specific to the logged in user. So those are some visibility pieces. The other big piece of what members can do in here is really just looking at the specific sections or items. What you can do is left click, for example, item 2A here. What that's going to do is open up a left-hand panel for you that allows you to take actions specific to this item. So here I can again expand that view if I wanted to get more details. You'll also notice a number of tabs here that will become acceptable once our clerk were to call a motion or vote. But before that, members can do things such as requesting to speak on a specific item. Now, should you take this action, that will translate back to your clerk, so they have that visibility. We see that here for Robert as well, who has just requested to speak. If I were to do the same, others should see my name also.
Hello, hello.
And then the other part is this attachments area. So again, I've called it live meeting, but this is an area that can absolutely be accessed prior to the meeting as well. So as members, we might go in here, take a look at these items that have already been created and approved. You can head over to something like this attachments tab, where it's going to show you not only those reports that are created in the system, those board letters, but also any supplemental attachments that were added with it. So by going into any item, I can select this eyeball that will open up a viewer for the item or the report. Same thing with those attachments, as well as the ability to download. Now, should you open up the viewer in the system, we do have annotation features that you can explore. So for example, in this viewer here, if we were viewing an attachment prior to that meeting, we could annotate slightly, save changes, and again, those would be visible should you return that attachment. So again, attachments area, all members have access to. The other important piece here is going to be our notes tab. So this notes tab, again, something that could be a part of your preparation prior to the meeting, but these notes will be completely internal to the poster, meaning only our members will see any notes left here, not our clerks, admins, or any other folks. So we can leave notes, something like, hey, ask a question about this. And maybe that will serve as a reminder when the meeting is actually taken. and then you'll see you can leave as many or as little notes as you need to. But again, those are specific to the item and the logged in user. All right. So those are, again, actions that you can kind of take independently. Everything else, the important pieces of the system in regards to, again, reporting a motion as a mover, second, or voting on those motions, those will actually take place once actions are completed on our clerk. So what that means is I'm going to quickly act as a clerk here on another browser that I have. And what I'm going to do is start by activating a section or item. So for example, if I were to activate call to order as a clerk on the clerk end, you'll notice all of our members should have that call to order section highlight in yellow, also showing that it is active. So the quick way for us as members to know, hey, where we're at in the meeting, if maybe we were exploring other areas. Now, should you scroll away from that active item, you can always select that yellow bar at the bottom. That will take you right back to it.
Brings you right back to it. That's cool.
Yeah, really the idea is that our clerks are going to be working their way through section by section, item by item. So from call to order to additions to the agenda, eventually into closed session. And as they're working their way through it, we're going to see all of that on our member side. Now, once they get to actually calling a motion or a vote, it's going to look something like this. So our clerk will go ahead and record that motion. They will start by activating the item. In this case, we'll go with item 2A here. They would call the motion, say, for example, it was to approve. Now, once they record that motion, you're going to notice a pop-up appear for all of our members. It will show you that active motion. Should they add some additional text to that motion, for example, approved closed session item, that will immediately translate to our members' view as that motion is updated on the clerk. So once they've gotten that motion text down, our clerks will then go ahead and call our moves. So what that means is, as members, you'll now see on that pop-up the question, would you like to move this motion?
I did
So
it
of course,
first.
if you are the mover, Brett would go ahead and select that.
I did it first.
We see Brett and Leticia got that down. So all of us have a view of that as well, on who moved and who seconded.
Oh, you got it, yeah. Waiting for the status.
All right, perfect. So of course, if we already have our mover and seconder, others won't be able to then make those selections. So we have those two down. At that point, our clerk would then go ahead and open the vote. So we'll see a similar bubble appear in just a moment. I will open the vote. This isn't restricted to just the two users. All members who are present in the meeting.
What about
will then
public
be able to
comment?
select one of those four options.
Yeah, what about public comment before we vote?
You would still just ask for it.
I'm sorry, was that a question for me?
Yeah. This is Wheeler. I'm asking, before we do any vote, we got to do public comment, how we do that.
So the clerk, you guys would put up the voting after public comment, is that correct? It wouldn't just automatically populate after the motion and second?
So when you call for a motion, then you would call for public comment. There's also a public comment or a speakers tab on there. It'll show you the external speakers that have signed up to speak, or if you have people in here, we can put them in. But you would give your public the opportunity to speak, and then you can do your moving and your voting. Okay, so that's just that's an internal process, not system process.
So Sarah, I think his question is, so they're gonna call for public comment first, and then we bring up the voting screen. Is that right?
We usually do.
Yeah.
And that practice won't change. If you're more comfortable doing it verbally, you can, but now that the vote record shows up on the screen, we're not mandated to report out Supervisor Wheeler, Supervisor Leticia Gonzalez, etc., because it's on screen. But if that is the practice that you still want to do, we will still do that, of course.
When we go through the process today, you'll see up on the screen how clear it is. You might change your mind. We'll s-
Okay.
I like the roll call. I think.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's,
Adam.
We got too many votes. We got
So
6
you,
votes.
so you seconded it and you voted against it? I mean, come on, flip flop, pick a side. So I did notice Easy, when I had requested to speak, I couldn't, cancel that request to speak, or how do I cancel that request to speak?
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing, but I think I heard that if I requested to speak and I wanted to remove that, how would I go about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, so unfortunately, that won't be something we have access to as members. It will be more so on our clerk end. So just to quickly give you guys a view of what our clerks see, you'll notice similar to what we have, but a lot more access. They'll be the ones that would actually delete or remove those members.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
Yeah. So, Sarah, I don't call on people to talk. I mean, when Brett raises his hand or Letty, I don't.
You'll still call them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that
But
is
sometimes
that view, the
sometimes
public
I
won't
don't
see.
want to say anything after, like, maybe the staff had answered my question. So he'd still
So he
call,
wants to reject it, take it off.
I guess
We'll
it'll
just have to
be,
figure out a sign language between y'all and us as clerks.
it'll just be when you call, I say, I don't,
That
no, I
works,
don't
yeah.
have it. Yeah.
They,
Nope, not right now.
I just like meetings to go as short as possible and
Yeah.
taking,
Agree.
so anyway, that's fine.
Okay.
I only have to do it for 3 meetings, so.
Go ahead, Easy.
Okay, sounds like we're getting some really good questions. That's great. But really the idea is what we saw here, once that vote, like we all practice recording our own vote there, once it is closed, we are going to get a vote summary in front of all of our members. So we'll get an idea of who voted yes and no and how it was recorded in the system, along with the result of that motion. So we kind of practiced that already. Should we close that motion or the item, you'll notice that pop-up disappears. When we close the item, we no longer have that yellow bar. But really, it's rinse and repeat of that process. Again, our clerks are going to work their way through item by item. I think I heard a question about the public comment teams. You might have breaks in between before those motions are voted, but the idea is that we're going to work our way through from one item in one section to the next. And as we need to, we'll record the one or more motions needed for those items. And so let's kind of practice that process again. Again, just to give our members a sneak peek of that clerk view, this is what they're seeing when they're working their way through and recording those motions. So they're doing something like this where they're calling whatever that motion may be, whether it's approve or adopt. In this case, we'll go with adopt. And then as your clerk selects call movers, again, we should see that pop up. We have our movers, and then same thing, open our vote. We'll see those votes circle in.
I own an animal, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Yeah. Well, I think if you go yay and then you go nay, that takes it
Awesome.
out.
So we've got all of our votes. You'll see you can change it all the way until it's closed. I do see Brett and Robert practicing that, but once you do close, it is going to lock it down. So I think I heard a question about timing. We might want to give a heads up on when that's taking place, but once it's closed, those votes are locked. We'll again get that vote summary here.
I recuse myself. I own
Okay,
an
well,
animal.
Put negative. I'm gonna talk to you. So. We're gonna go in the back room. And I got my new belt, buddy. Watch out.
All right. Awesome. So that's really kind of everything that we have for the member side of things. Again, you have a more minimal view, but you do have that entire agenda. So really to give you that full visibility of what items we have, what attachments, as well as what speakers. Really quickly here, I'm going to change the access that I have. I want to change my role here to our chair role, just to give everyone an idea of what the difference is for a member versus the chair. Our chairs will have the ability to vote and do everything we just walked through. But the difference for our chairs, for example, in this case, we have Tom. Tom, you will have a speaker option in the top right-hand corner. So that will give you a holistic view of any of those speakers Sarah described, of those that have signed up prior to. So from the public, as well as maybe those.
How did I close it? Oh, that thing.
So the chairman will be able to view potential public speakers as well as members.
Oh, okay, that goes back to that. Then I'm up.
That's
there.
correct.
Okay.
All right, so that is everything. Do we want to, how do we feel about kind of that process of, again, just recording ourselves as the mover, seconder, and our votes? Do we feel comfortable, or do we want to do a couple of more run throughs of what that looks like?
You guys,
I'm good.
Comfortable?
you're speaking. What does the blue mean when you touch speaker? Sir,
The blue mean, let's see.
got a blue line under it, or it goes blue shaded.
What's a way of guiding you, but the speaker mean, when you click on that speaker,
This
I
one?
guess that means he's the hot one right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Supervisor
that's
Gonzalez
a-
is asking about how on her view, she can click each speaker and it changes blue, but doesn't seem to actually have an effect for anything to the meeting itself.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, that is a interesting point. That might be a bit of a new feature. Let's see here.
That you don't know about, huh?
Right,
Yeah.
you know, software is always changing. But that'll have to look into and just see if there is any correlation. I do see exactly what you're referring to with that microphone changing, but I'll have to clarify that.
Good point.
Board, any more questions? Are y'all comfortable? Are we ready?
We're gonna get.
Yeah, we've got,
Use it.
it is what it is.
Right, exactly. So we go to the start again. Go to the top. We're gonna start at the meeting at the top here.
So now you'll go into today's meeting, which will give you all the items that you'll act on part 2 of this board meeting.
Go to today's meeting.
BOS
Toggle to
regular
the other
meeting.
screen.
It should populate here in a second. There we go. Call to order.
Okay, Easy, I think we're good. Thank you very much for your time.
Awesome.
you,
Yeah, no
Izzy.
problem at all. Thank you all for your time and attention. Like I said, we'll send this recording out along with this PDF guide that we have that will run through everything we've got through. So keep that handy. But thank you all again. Hope you have a great meeting and a great rest of your weekend. I'll be in the background to support that for the next couple of hours.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Need none of those. Was that one? That? Oh, right. I'm getting smarter by the second. Yeah, I know you can't touch it. Betty, we're gonna start this meeting, I think, I hope. First of all, let's welcome everybody. It's 9:12 to the 9 because we've been practicing with our brand new system, yeah. Great system, I guess. I got 3 weeks to learn it, then I'm done. Oh, you guys have fun. Anyway, is there any additions to the agenda?
There are no additions.
No additions? Okay, will you read in the closed session items, council?
Yes, Chair and members of the board, for closed session today under Government Code Section 54957.6, you have conference with your labor negotiators. Your agency designated representatives are Director Noriega, Deputy CAO Begay, and Human Resources Manager Ms. Susan Carter. The employee organization are all units, and the unrepresented employees are all classifications excluding elected officials. There's also a decision whether to initiate litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9. You have conference with your legal counsel. That's me, and there's one case under subdivision D of paragraph 4 of that government code. Thank you.
Okay, any public comment on items in closed session? Yeah, nothing, let's adjourn to the closed session room. Please.
Gross for the last 2 years is lower than their costs.
We are
Live now?
yes.
Okay, everybody, I can get your attention. Matt? We'll get this meeting under control here. I want everybody to know that we got a brand new system we're using. And it's the first day, and we were here early this morning to run through a few test things, but you know, it's just being a older person and an Okie and stuff like that, it's way over my head. So you might need a little help here, but I got it going right now. So But bear with us today. We're 15 minutes late, but we got all day. Is there any reportable action out of the closed sessions?
Chair, there is reportable action at a closed session on a motion by Pro Tem Frazier and a second by Supervisor Rogers. On a vote 5-0, all supervisors being in favor, they provided direction to legal counsel to initiate litigation against Mid-Valley Disposal if necessary. There are no other reportable closed session items.
Any public comment on that? Seeing none. Okay. We're gonna open and close in memory of a couple people here. Rob?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to remember Richard Kuchenbecker. It's been a few weeks since last time we met, and Richard passed away on the 27th of November. He was 82 years old. Many here knew him really well. Some of us here did not, but he was a great guy, strong supporter of the ag community. I guess you would selling tractors, right? You know, but great family. His father, Lowell, started the business back in about 1946. And then Richard came along at age 21 when he was still playing baseball at Fresno State for Pete Biden. So when you hear that Biden field, Richard played baseball for him. And he was 49er fan and Giants fan and just on so many levels. He enjoyed playing racquetball. I used to see him down at the club back in the 90s and 2000s with playing racquetball with guys. Some of them aren't around anymore either. But anyway, just like to remember Richard, his family, Lynn and his associates lost a good one there.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Robin. It's with a heavy heart. My uncle Jim Anderson passed away on Thanksgiving last week. That was last week, yeah. But he was with his boys. Dementia had started to set in, so I think he knew it was time to go. He he controlled a lot of things. I think that was one of the things he wanted to spend the last day with his boys, and so love you, Uncle Jim, and thank you.
Yeah. Thank you both.
I've got one.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Dave.
since our last meeting, Jim Rohn passed away from the community of Chowchilla. Jim was a longtime auto mechanic in our community. And just to tell a story about what kind of guy Jim was, I was a young father and just got laid off, and my car engine blew up, and the head gasket blew. I took it into Jim and he said, "Oh, your head gasket's gone. I'm gonna have to rebuild your engine." And he told me the price. I said, "I just really can't afford it." He says, "You pay me when you can." And I'll never forget that he did that for me. And shortly thereafter, I was able to pay him completely off. But what a guy to do that for somebody in the community. That's just the kind of person he was. And he had a twinkle in his eye, and we'll miss Jim very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say something about Richard Kuchenbecker. I worked for Frank Wiley up there at Circle W Ranch for 41 years. And in 1964, I told Rob, and his dad actually bought a tractor that same year from Kuchenbecker. And it was actually a used tractor, a bucket, got all the attachments with it. The 1800 industrial Ford tractor. And then when I retired from the ranch, I actually bought that tractor. I have it in my house now. And that's where I always took it to get it fixed, because they always treated us really well there. It was a great place. And the other one I've got is Jim Wagner. He worked for Cal Fire, or actually CDF, for 100 years. And he passed away on November the 9th. And I just happened to see it in the Mariposa Gazette the other day. And he was a great friend, great firefighter. When I first met him, probably 30, 40 years ago, we used to have control burns at the ranch. We used to burn 1,200 acres a year, every couple of years on the ranch. And he was one of the fire bosses one year, and I first met him and his wife, and they were just super people. all I can say, we became really good friends. We did a lot of things together. He liked antiques and I had an antique store at the time and I didn't even know they'd been in Mariposa forever. It seemed like they moved to Amador County a while back, I guess, and Cal Fire, he'd be really missed. So, any other ones?
Yeah, I was gonna wait for all the opening and closing in the memory of, and Supervisor Poitras had actually brought this up and it made a lot of sense, but you know, as we do these, sometimes we'll ask for prayers, and I wanted to share a few months back, I had asked for Jerry Fernandez, who was a firefighter, fire captain in the city of Madera, Madera resident, needed lung transplants. I just wanted to give an update. He received his double lung transplant
Oh,
up in Stanford. He's doing well. Posted a picture of himself upright, and he's learning how to walk again. And but the prayers answered, and just wanted to give everyone an update. And thank you, Supervisor Poitras. Sometimes we forget to come back when there's good news that happened because of the community coming behind someone. So still keep Jerry and Ophelia in your prayers, and he's on the road to recovery.
cool.
Yeah, so
Really neat.
really neat.
Thank you. Okay, we're number 3, invocation and pledge allegiance. We'll have Pastor Dennis Sylvester from the First Assembly of God Church to give the invocation. And Regina, would you lead the flag salute?
Yes, Chair, thank you.
Right in the middle.
Full button on. Thank you. Green light. I almost started praying without any application, didn't I?
Good
God
job.
would have heard you.
Yeah.
Let's pray. Father, before we do anything else, we recognize you as God and Lord and Supreme. We thank you for the place in the world that you have allowed us to live and eke out our beings and enjoy the environment and all that you have provided for us. We pray your blessing upon the business, pray that it would be well done, that it would be peaceable. Then we pray also for those who lead us, that your presence, your guidance, your richness of your being be upon each one of us. Thank you for all that you do for us. And we praise your name for all that you have provided for us. Amen.
Please join me in saluting our flag. Get ready, salute.
Thank you, Pastor Dennis. Thank you, Regina, and thank you for your volunteerism too, Pastor, very much. First thing we're going to do under item 4 is have Karen read the public comment, what our rules are, and then we'll take it from there.
Public comment, the first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take any action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet. And in this case, Sarah has the iPad. She'll be doing it electronically, and state the name and county of residence for the record.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do is sing happy birthday to Letty. It's her birthday and tomorrow, and we're going to sing it. Oh, and Tracy Kennedy's birthday today. You can tell it's her birthday because look at her shirt. And she go in her office, it's got candles on it that lights up.
I got a sparkly dress for Saturday like that.
Okay,
For
happy
Saturday.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tracy. Happy birthday to you. The next thing we're gonna do before I let the public talk is, we had a CSAC conference a couple of weeks ago. And the CSAC Institute for Excellence in County Government, Bill Scheit used to be our leader that came to us and done our workshops for us at Bass Lake. And so each year, every 58 counties put in requests and honors and stuff for special credentials. And out of the 58 counties, they approved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18 different people. And some of them from the same county, but we had 2 from Madera County. So Sarah Boss from Madera County, our public health, and Sean Patrick, he was there, actually received his award. You got it? Yeah, show that, yeah. And so I just wanted to thank him. Sarah, I brought this home for you. I gave one to Sean up there, but I brought this for you because it's got your name on it. And I every year that we do get to go to those CSAC conferences, which, you know, with COVID and stuff kind of slowed them down. I can't tell you how many times Madera County has won different awards at CSAC. And I'm just proud to be part of that our people do that good of a job, that we get recognized for the whole state for some of the stuff we do. So thank you, too.
Yeah.
And I got this for you. Okay, now, anybody else got anything they want to say in public?
I had a public comment.
Oh, okay.
Just wanted to remind everybody, tomorrow, December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. There's an event out in Tesoro Viejo. There will be a flyover from some Black Hawk helicopters at 9:55, which was the time when it had started. So that's when it'll start out there, 9:55 in Tesoro Viejo for Pearl Harbor Day.
You gotta take over.
Hmm?
You gotta take over.
And I guess I'll take over the meeting. I'm just leaving in the middle of it, just wandering off.
Have a habit of that, you know. My red-headed stepson here, I got to watch him all the time, so. Okay, any other public comment from anyone? Yes, there's this podium, you know how it works, buddy. Unless you forgot from last meeting, which I doubt, right?
I won't go over 3 minutes.
No.
Members of the board, I feel really safe today with so many sheriffs around. Would I like to address the board about,
Name?
oh, Ralph Pistoresi.
Not everybody knows you, you know.
Yeah,
Some do,
okay,
but
Ralph
some don't.
Pistoresi. All right. I'd like to address the board about this December 2nd. We attended a hearing at the Madera Superior Court regarding an injunction placed on the 218 water matter that was passed in this county. And it was kicked from one courtroom to the other because no judge wanted to touch it, I think. Today, again, there was 100 farmers over there, December 2nd. I don't know how many of them are there today, probably the same amount. They're very concerned about the amount of money they have to pay that's been included in their tax bill. The 218 was presented as a fee, but now conveniently is being treated as a tax and being placed on the tax bill. It's a tremendous amount of money, a harsh strain on a lot of farming operations, some to the tunes of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what our coalition would like is for the Board of Supervisors to take it up in executive session where they can instruct the tax collector to separate the fee and penalties from the normal taxes to be paid. And this is something that the farmers need the money more, especially at the end of the year. They have crop loans to make. Commodity prices are down tremendously. They're in a real price squeeze. and they really don't need to be squeezed anymore. The county still, if they win the case, are going to collect their fees. But this is a real hardship on a lot of people, farmers, and eventually all the people that are involved in their farming operations. So I know you can't take action on it now, but hopefully before the taxes are due in an executive session or something, maybe you can address this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Any others? Yeah, none. Was there any online? None online. Okay, we're gonna move to the consent calendar. Let's see if I got this right here. Right there, it's all in the yellow. Pretty cool. Okay, any questions from the board for consent calendar item? None? Dave? Rogers, you got any question on the consent calendar? None? Okay, we'll open it up to the public. Any questions on the consent calendar? Yeah, none? Okay,
Move to approve.
We're
you gotta do it right here.
just
Oh.
waiting.
Boy, oh boy. I'm waiting here.
It says waiting. There we go.
Got it.
Now. Geez, boy, you gotta be quick
Oh,
on
Brad
this.
beat me. The young gun outgunned me.
It's all right here in front of us now. Okay, we got a motion by Brett Frazier and a second by David Rogers.
Chair.
Huh?
Sorry, prior to a call for the vote, I know you asked for public comment. Just want to make sure there's none online, especially with
Oh,
the
yeah, I'm
brand
sorry, I
new
messed that
system.
one up. Any online? None on that.
None online.
Beautiful. Okay, I still want to do a roll call. I know it's on here. So we'll say status, okay? Would you please do a roll call?
My screen's black.
Control Alt Delete and then go back in.
There's David.
1 second.
Thanks.
There you go. Oh.
Yeah.
Gonna show up in mine anyway.
Oh, it's not letting me. Oh,
Who's that? Yeah.
Ah.
There it is. Everybody's voted? Okay, roll call.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
yes.
Chairman Wheeler,
Yes.
vote passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move to item 6A. Item 6A. and board
6A,
clerk. Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
presentation of a proclamation for National Injury Prevention Day.
Is that Lindsay?
Lindsay, you want to go up to the lectern?
Lindsay Kuiper? Right there. Perfect.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Kuiper. I am the Trauma Program Manager at Valley Children's Healthcare. And on behalf of on behalf of Valley Children's, I want to thank you for adopting this proclamation recognizing November 18th, 2020 as National Injury Prevention Day in Madera County. By adopting this proclamation, you are making an important contribution to childhood injury prevention efforts. And we look forward to continuing to work with you to keep Madera County's children and their families safe and well. Thank you again for your support.
Hey, you want to read the proclamation, Karen?
Sure. Proclamation, November 18, 2022, National Injury Prevention Day, whereas injuries are the leading cause of death and disabilities for U.S. children ages 1 to 18, and whereas as the only pediatric trauma center in Central Valley Children's Hospital Healthcare is a leader in providing pediatric specific treatment for injured children, treating 1,046 children in 2021 for injuries. Whereas community agencies in which Valley Children's Healthcare partners to prevent childhood injuries, including but not limited to other healthcare providers, government agencies, schools, and community-based organizations. Whereas Madera County is committed to creating a safe environment, contributing to the safety and well-being of our children. Whereas National Injury Prevention Day raises awareness and promotes efforts to reduce injuries among children, Madera County commends Valley Children's, and all involved in their endeavor to protect the children from injury. Now, therefore, it is proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of Madera County has hereby proclaimed November 18th, 2022 as National Injury Prevention Day and calls upon the residents of Madera County to join us in this observation.
Thank you. Let's go down here and give her this proclamation. And report. Oh, yeah. Couple of weeks ago, it snowed and some people couldn't make it up. Right. Item 6B.
6B, presentation of certificates to the Madera County Sheriff's Office volunteer programs.
Morning, Chairman and members of the board. I'm
Morning, Mr.
Sheriff Tyson
Tice.
Poe. Sorry, what's that?
I said, good morning. I'm sorry, to interrupt you.
So we're very fortunate to have such a large cadre of volunteers that serve the county and our communities in Madera County. These volunteers often give up their time with their families, respond in the middle of the night on holidays, and donate countless of hours of their precious time in service to our community. Though our three primary teams serve vastly different functions, together they allow the Sheriff's Office and our Office of Emergency Services Division to effectively and efficiently respond to emergencies and disasters. Their service not only fills critical roles within our agency, but they often are a workforce multiplier, allowing our deputies and our agency to accomplish our mission. And I'd like to highlight three of our teams and the work that they do here today. Though many of our volunteers have full-time jobs, they weren't able to make it here today. We do have several representatives. And so I'd like to invite them and their coordinators up to the front while we highlight a few of the ways in which they serve our community. So if I can get you guys just to kind of make your way towards the front while I kind of talk about you along with your unit coordinator, that'd be great. Our largest and oldest team is our search and rescue unit, which is supervised by Sergeant Joseph Wilder. We have about 125 volunteers who are willing to come out at any time or place, in any weather condition, on any holiday. You call, they come. Our search and rescue team runs about 100 calls per year, in which some sort of volunteer response is needed to assist the deputies. Many of these incidents are field deployments, such as technical rope rescues, lost persons, and 4x4 snow rescues. However, behind the scenes, the members provide countless hours in preventative and preparation work. The team averages at least 3 training events during the winter months and 6 training events during the summer months. Part of their preparation requires almost weekly checks of equipment, ensuring that it's mission ready. This includes the new Snowcat that you'll see here in a few minutes. They ensure that the vehicles will start when the call comes in, or that generator will fire up when it's needed. They pre-position trailers and ensure that everything is ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Our volunteers are always ready and willing to respond to any emergency. During the Oak Fire, they deployed equipment to the shelters and did so again during the Fork Fire. Our volunteers are part of the community as well, and they help in our Operation Lost and Found program. They go around, they change out the batteries in that program for dementia patients in case they wander away from home. We service currently about 40 clients in that program. So it's not just search and rescue, but during any emergency, our SAR volunteers are here to help. They serve under their motto, so others may live. I'd like to mention that 2 of our previous retired SAR coordinator sergeants are here with us today. I'll introduce them here in a little bit when we do the Snowcat, but they took time away from their busy schedules to join us to help honor our search and rescue volunteers and present that Snowcat. Our second team is the Citizens on Patrol. It's a community volunteer organization established in 1999 after a small group of citizens in the Madera Ranchos took it upon themselves to start patrolling the area. It operates countywide under the supervision of Sergeant Manuel Ramirez. They're placed through a structure 40-hour Citizens Academy where they learn first aid, CPR, defensive driving, traffic control, radio communications, safety issues, various risks, department policies, and other areas. We've had over 150 Citizens on Patrol volunteers go through our program. Currently, our team has around 21 active members. Our trained in uniform COP volunteers patrol neighborhoods, school zones, business areas, churches, parks, and they do this in marked patrol vehicles in an effort to help and assist deter criminal activity. They also perform vacation checks on residences and businesses and perform welfare checks as part of our Elder Orphans program. They also assist with traffic control during disasters and emergency incidents, including search and rescue operations, and attend many community events. Over the last 20 years, they have volunteered 160,000 hours of their time. They've covered over 500 community events and completed over 1,500 special department requests. Our Citizens on Patrol program is a vital role providing deputies, Madera County residents, and business owners with much needed and highly effective second set of eyes and ears. And our third, and certainly not least, is our Sheriff Chaplain program. It's an important unit for the deputies and the citizens of Madera County, and it's supervised by Corporal Ian Roth. The role of the Sheriff's Chaplain is to provide moral support, spiritual guidance, and practical assistance to the Sheriff's deputies, department personnel, and their families. They also offer comfort, care, and counseling to the victims of crime and other citizens in times of crisis and need. The Sheriff's Chaplains go on ride-alongs monthly, and they build bonds with the deputies over time. They often are sounding boards for our personnel as they go about completing their difficult jobs. They're on call out, and they're often called out to scenes of very difficult cases, such as coroner cases, violent crimes, or anything where a clergy member might bring some comfort to the families. On many instances, a chaplain being on scene with a deputy is disarming and can reduce the tension of a situation. They pray with the families on coroner cases or other traffic events to bring comfort and calm. There are several instances of this, but one that the coordinator asked to highlight was an instance where a young adult male was up camping and hiking in the high Sierras, and he fell and unfortunately passed away. His father was present when this happened, and he was flown out of the high Sierras to the airport. A deputy and supervisor requested a chaplain to be there for the grieving father, and they met him at that airport. And when that call came in, it was around midnight. So the chaplain, in selfless hesitation, responded without hesitation. He got dressed. He got there. He met with the father and the decedent. He prayed and comforted the father, but it didn't end there. So the chaplain went out of his way and took the father in his own personal vehicle, in the chaplain's vehicle, because the father obviously didn't have a vehicle at the airport. Got him into a hotel and made sure he was settled down and taken care of for the evening. So he was there for him in those early hours of that tragic event. So we currently have approximately eight sheriff chaplains on our team serving the community. And so with that, Chairman, I'll turn it over to you for comments and photos.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say thank all of you so much. But this last weekend, we had the Christmas tree auction annual we do up at in Oakhurst and Bass Lake, and Lynn Fomer and his wife Julie, they take the used ropes that they use to pull people out and do what they do, and they make dog leashes. Well, the tree that they made up for the sheriff's department brought, I think, $2,200 or $2,500. I forgot what it was. And do you remember what it was? It was about that anyway. And but they had made these dog leashes, and they said if anybody wants a bump bid $100, they had 20 of them, right? They would give them one of those dog leashes. And I bought one last year, so I got one of them. So it's last year. But anyway, you should have seen the hands go up, everybody. They sold every single one. And I think they could have sold another 20 of them if they'd had them. So they've not only got the $2,200 or $2,500 for the tree, they got $2,000 just for those dog leashes that they made up. And that's kind of service that these volunteers all do all the time, all of you. So, and I just, myself personally, can't thank you enough for what you guys do and take care of our citizens.
Thank you, Chairman. We're so fortunate for the community support and for yours and the board support.
Board members, anything else to say? Okay, let's go down. We got facts for all of you. Not all of you. I mean, 3 different. Should make some sense.
Buddy. Thank you.
Together.
Okay, next item, 6C.
Briefing and demonstration of the new Snowcat by Sheriff Pogue.
Morning, board members and chairman. It's with great excitement and honor to be here today to present the newest piece of life-saving equipment authorized by your board. So it's been something we've been trying to find a way to purchase and acquire since around 2001. At that time, that Under Sheriff McMecken was our search and rescue coordinator, and he started looking for grants and ways to fund that equipment and researching various vendors. In 2003, SAR coordinator Sergeant Chuck Bump continued working on the project, further researching vendors, scheduling demonstrations, and ultimately recommending we purchase a Tucker Snowcat. In 2005, we're able to purchase a 1967 Snowcat from the Fresno Sheriff's Office. SAR coordinator Jim Bernardi completely overhauled the machine and replaced the engine so that we would have something to fill that critical role. Sergeant Bernardi explained that we still needed a closed cab in order to transport victims and patients, and continued researching ways to find and fund that project. Over the years, our office made some changes to the ways in which we track incidents and handle cost recovery. In large part, changes in process refinement was spearheaded by Sergeant Joseph Wilder. We became diligent and efficient at tracking and documenting our costs. We researched what was eligible for reimbursement and ways to leverage that funding opportunity. So by leveraging Title III funds for reimbursement to the county costs for our search and rescue operations, we eventually saved enough to bring an item to the board in 2021 to purchase a 2022 Tucker Snowcat 2000 XL. So it's with great pride that we're here today to present that purchased equipment to your board. It supports 5 search and rescue team members for transport and can reach speeds of 25 miles an hour in the snow. It has 4 independent tracks to allow it to traverse hills and have more control over long tracks. The largest reason for the vehicle is it provides a warm, safe location for the patients and for that litter. It's heated. It provides room for the litter to be in the back of the cab. And it's one example was a couple years ago, we had a search in Bayshore Meadows where several patients were suffering from carbon monoxide. All those patients had to be transported out in an open cab machine. So they were out in the elements as we brought them that long journey back down the hill. So it's exposed them to the cold environment, prolonged our ability to provide quick patient care. In the past, we've had to take Sierra ambulance paramedics up to the field, bundled up with our SAR members' gear. But with this machine, we'll be able to put them in the heated cab and get them up to the people so that we can rescue and provide them treatment. That litter transport's become key with more and more people flocking to the backcountry. We're seeing an increase in snowmobile accidents each year. They cause back and neck injuries, requiring them to be transported lying flat. So with weather impacting more operations, it's preventing search and rescue to use the fastest mode. Or it's imperative for the search and rescue to use the fastest mode, whether that's helicopter, ground transport. But most often, because of the weather, we have to use that ground transport. So equipment isn't just for snow. I'd like to point out that it was brought to my attention by Sergeant Bump that we can actually use it during flood situations, mudslides, many other disaster situations. So it's absolutely a benefit for us to have this. The investment's a long-term investment with proper care and preventive maintenance. It should last and serve the county well for the next 20 years. So I'd like to mention this equipment presentation was so near and dear to the hearts of those that have worked on it over the past 2 decades, that the retired search and rescue coordinators, Sergeant Bump and Sergeant Bernardi, took time from their busy retirement schedules to be with us here today and help present the equipment. So I'd like to just take a moment to introduce them. Sergeant Bump and Sergeant Bernardi, if I could get you to, and Sergeant Wilder as well, please stand so that we can
They're standing.
recognize you. There you go. So if we can just give them a brief round of applause for all the work that they did. So Chairman, with that, we do have the equipment staged out back. If you guys would like to take a quick look.
We'll take a couple minutes, go look at that real quick. Before everybody goes out, I just, I forgot to really thank our IT department and our board clerks department and all the ladies in there of making all this system work. I mean, they have worked overtime with all of our staff and everything else to get this done. And I apologize that we didn't do it with everybody here, but thank all of you for, because it's been a conversion in hell. Let's just put it that way.
Just one moment.
Getting
Oh,
this
just a
thing go
moment.
running.
Okay. we've
It's
got your
working
mics on.
now. Okay, let's go to, first of all, thank the sheriff and all the volunteers that they do. It's just totally flat amazing to me. Our small county probably does more than 90% of all the big counties in the state. So thank you, all of you. 6D,
6D County Assessors Grant Program is listed on the agenda.
okay. How you doing, buddy? Push the button in the middle. There you go.
Sorry. Good morning, Chairman, Board. Today before you is a request to,
Name?
Brian Glover, Acting Assessor, Madera County. Today before you is a request to participate in the Joint Powers Association recently established by the California Assessors Association. This is to participate in a grant developed by the state. Your board's familiar with the two more recent grants where funds came from the state directly to the counties, and both those instances came with a matching requirement. This particular one, the state's trying to get more global programs put together that each county assessor's office can use for standardization. So the state is going to grant $10 million for 3 years. First $10 million has already been received by the Assessors Association. Next two $10 million sets in the coming years are dependent on the state budget, which maybe there, maybe not. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the goal here is to create uniform programs that all the assessors' offices to carry out duty of taxing real and personal property.
Right. Okay.
There is a little bit of a discrepancy in that the resolution and the document both ask for the ability for the department head to sign, but on the packet, the document asks for the board chair
Sign it.
signature. So we are gonna get that swapped out.
We'll just do that when we make the motion. We'll make the correction that change it from the. right?
Yes, Chair, on your agenda, the recommended action is correct and Acting Assessor Glover asked to do the swap and it is being sent now to his office and the clerk of the board. So the request on the actual agenda is correct and the
Oh,
backup
okay.
says the chair instead of acting assessor. So that will be flip-flopped and available for the public.
Perfect. Okay, any comments from the board members? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, any on the line? Seeing none, and let's get my voting deal ain't showing up for some reason.
Control, delete.
Yeah, mine's not either.
Oh, that's right, you gotta do
There it
that.
goes.
Control, delete.
I'll move
Oh,
on that
put
one.
my name in. What's the
I am just
password?
slower than a 7-year itch with you. You bastard.
There it is. I got the town. Okay, oh, we already got a motion. We got a second?
Yep.
Okay. Vote. Oh. Making sure everybody's paying attention.
I'll just, how would you like to vote?
Yeah, he's working on it. Really contemplating on this and whether she wants to vote yes, no, or abstain. It'll take her a while to figure this out.
It's a very controversial item.
Right. Hey, okay, we're all voted now and roll call, please.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez. Chairman Wheeler,
Yes,
vote passes 5-0.
okay, let's go to item 6E.
Actually, I did, if I could
Oh,
take just
I'm
a
sorry,
second.
yes, I'm sorry.
All right, I just wanted to thank the board, county council, clerk of the board's office, admin for having the faith in me to, do this year as the acting assessor. It's been a great experience, but I'm also looking forward to handing it off to Brett in January. So just wanted to thank you all.
Well,
for
I
the
want to
opportunity.
thank you for the great job you've done stepping
Thank
in
you.
like
This is
that.
the last item you're bringing forward. I thought we had a couple more meetings, but you've done a wonderful job, and it was a very easy decision to place you there, and
Yeah.
knowing the way not only the staff view you, but also the public. Everyone speaks so highly of you, and I can attest to that.
Yeah,
So
thank
can
you.
I.
Tried to keep everybody with the pitchforks and torches.
Yeah.
I'm looking
Thank you
forward to
again.
you two working together, so it's gonna be a great department there here next year, so greater, or that's great, maybe that's what it should.
Just keep putting your foot in your mouth.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Shut up, Wheeler, okay? 6E,
6E, presentation regarding Brown Act amendment for remote participation in public agency meetings as listed on the agenda.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. Regina Garza, your county counsel, here to talk about new and exciting Brown Act options starting January 1st, 2023 for you supervisors and other officials. So prior to COVID-19 pandemic, the Brown Act had some pretty strict requirements for legislative bodies of local agencies to meet by teleconference. So when I say teleconference, I often think of a phone call and we're going to get on a teleconference. However, the law, when they say teleconference in this, in these code sections, they mean remote. So if you're going to be remote, that's just something to keep in mind as I walk through this. Among other restrictions prior to COVID-19, the teleconference locations had to be on the agenda and open to the public and accessible. You had to have a quorum of the legislative body within the boundaries of the jurisdiction here. So those are your traditional teleconferencing rules that existed before COVID-19. And then in about March of 2020, the governor issued an executive order and the legislator produced AB 361. So AB 361 gave some statutory exemptions to those traditional teleconferencing rules under specified circumstances related to the public health and safety emergency. So those are your AB 361 remote attendance rules that popped up here and are also still in place with the supervisors have continued to invoke AB 361 on your agendas since March 2020. In terms of AB 2449, that's what we're going to talk about today, Assembly Bill 2449. This authorization will sunset in January. Oh, I'm sorry. Under the terms of AB 2449, the Assembly Bill 361, the COVID Relaxed Brown Act rules, that's set to expire on January 1st, 2024. So for this next year, we're going to have the new AB 2449 and then the AB 361 and the traditional teleconferencing. That's why on here it says options. Many options. And of course, this newer set of options, in my opinion, is very restrictive and complicated. And it also changes the focus to each member. I'm not a big fan of this new law.
You want to rotate your PowerPoint?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
So AB 2449 does not
Oh,
extend AB 361. As I mentioned, instead, it causes it to expire on January 1st, 2024, unless the state does something different. AB 2449 does not require the need for a proclaimed state of emergency, as does AB 361, the COVID. Instead, this bill implements, as I mentioned, another temporary exception that authorizes agencies to meet by teleconference. So these rather complex and restrictive rules seem to be a framework based on the circumstances of individual members. And so I'll go into that a little bit more. So the provisions the provisions permit individual members. So you're talking about supervisors, commissioners, civil service commissioners, council members, when we're talking about our local cities, trustees, when I'm talking about school board trustees, joint
Planning
powers
commission?
authority members, pardon me?
Planning commission?
Yes, commission members. So
Oh.
individual members to attend public meetings remotely if they're dealing with personal emergencies or other just cause. You got now personal emergency or other just cause that allows you to teleconference in. So what does that look like? We'll step back and I'll give you just a little oversight in terms of the agency here. So Madera County as a whole, rather than the individual board member. Assembly Bill 2249, at least a quorum of the body must attend in a single physical meeting location within the boundaries of the jurisdiction. So very similar to your traditional, but unlike AB 361, where all four, I'm going to use this board as an example, can be remote. This new law requires at least a quorum here, and less than a quorum can attend remotely. Each location that a member may be attending remotely does not need to be open to the public, meaning we don't have to list the address on the agenda, and it doesn't have to be physically available, that remote location, and accessible to members of the public. Instead, the public has to be able to attend a physical location and also be able to attend remotely. So one of the emphases of this law is that the public has to be able to hear, observe, and address the board if you're attending remotely, a little bit different. So, and we can do that by two ways. Our agency can either provide a two-way audio-visual platform like we have today, Zoom, or you can do a telephonic service and a live webcast. Agencies have that option depending on their capabilities and what they want to do. But again, that allows people to hear, observe, and address while it's actually occurring. So now we'll turn our focus to what's required for each individual member to attend remotely during this potentially temporary period from 2023 to 2026. Individual members of the legislative body, you don't have to have your place open to the public. However, as I mentioned, you've got to participate both audio and visually. The folks have to see you. Now, the two circumstances that allow you to do this are just cause. So you can have just cause for attending remotely, and just cause in the law are 4 circumstances: a family, childcare, or caregiver need, a contagious illness, a need related to a physical or mental disability that is not otherwise accommodated, or travel while on official business. So the bill limits the number of times you can participate to 2 meetings per calendar year with the just cause exemption. Or an individual can say they have an emergency circumstance, and that's defined as a physical or family emergency that prevents a member from attending in person. And with an emergency situation, unlike the just cause situation, the law requires getting approval from the legislative body. So what does that look like? If you have reported to the clerk that you have an emergency situation, if the agenda has been posted, then you're looking at a subsequent need item, because the board then has to take action on that emergency remote participation prior to the meeting. If somehow you know you're going to have emergency before the agenda is posted, then of course the clerk's office can add that action item to the beginning of your agenda to seek approval from the legislative body for that emergency request. So last couple comments from this slide. If you attend remotely, anyone attends remotely, there's a requirement that you disclose if there is any individual 18 years or older present in the room. And that's generally when this action item is taken up. At the remote location, there has to be a disclosure. And there also has to be disclosure for anyone attending remotely by teleconference, disclose the general nature of the relationship with that individual. Nice and convenient.
Yeah.
So we'll go over these justifications just quickly again here. Just cause, the member must notify the local body at the earliest possible opportunity, including a general description of the circumstances that have arisen under those categories there: childcare, caregiver need, contagious illness, disability, travel for local business. The member does not need to disclose the confidential medical information, and that is built into the law. The legislative body must post the request on the agenda and take action for the emergency circumstances, as I've mentioned, physical and family emergencies. And we've got to, or the board has to approve that by a 2/3 vote or a unanimous vote if less than 2/3 member are present. So just to recap, how communication to the clerks is significant for AB 2449 and the benefit to legislative bodies such as this one who routinely engage in such practices already. There are limitations on remote attendance under this new law. For just cause, only 2 meetings per calendar year. That's the one where no one has to vote. Just cause and emergency, no more than 3 consecutive months or 20% of the legislative body members per calendar year. And so one of the reasons for my descriptions on the agenda is because I believe our clerks of all of these bodies are going to have additional duties to track throughout the year when just cause or emergency justifications are sought. And there are different limitations for each. Now, going back in a big picture, like AB 361, if we're broadcasting the meeting, which we're required to do, and members of the public aren't able to offer public comments through remote service, then there can be no action by any legislative body until access is restored. And this is new because that wasn't the case for traditional teleconferencing rules, and AB 361 was an option, but now this rule, as of January 2023, makes the technology ability no longer discretionary. So for the agenda, just all the 2-way communication platforms must be on the agenda like we already do. And there has to be action before the meeting for emergency circumstances. And under the law for all of these, roll call voting is required. Good news. Not a good news presentation. I don't think, because I think it's 3 different types of Brown Act options right now that are going around, but I think paramount in all of them is public participation clearly, and now some additional steps for remote attendance come 2023. So my request on the agenda was to issue this out to as many bodies as we can here at Madera County. I know there's a planning commission meeting tonight, so I'm a bit behind, but I will be presenting this and making sure that first 5 agencies or any of our joint powers associations make sure that this is on their radar. Thank you. I'm open to any questions.
Any questions from the board members? Any from the public? A lot of new rules on this closed session. I mean, regular open meeting with pandemic and everything. So it's going to be weird. I don't have to worry about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Regina, so much. And you say you're going to give that tonight at the planning commission?
A very truncated 3-minute version, yes.
Thank you. No public on the online?
No public comment online.
Okay. 6F.
6F, second reading to adopt an ordinance to enact section 18.102.140 of the Madera County Code pertaining to expedited permitting for electric vehicle charging stations.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Jamie Bax with Community and Economic Development. This is the second reading of an ordinance that would allow for the expedited permitting of electric vehicles and a checklist. So I've been working with the building official on that checklist. This will make our code in compliance with Assembly Bill 1236. It's being added to the zoning ordinance, basically in our parking section. So we'll be able to utilize that as we receive permit applications, and I'm available for any questions.
Any question from the board members?
Just the same one I had the first time, just to make sure that this doesn't lessen what the permitting is for it. It just streamlines it.
Correct. No
Correct.
less
Makes us
impacts, correct.
More
Absolutely.
efficient.
Yes, more efficient. This and along with a lot of other bills made it more streamlined, basically.
Perfect. Any public comment? Any
Does
from?
that include for personal solar systems?
No, this is for electric vehicle charging
electric vehicle.
stations.
That's what I'm saying. If you were going to put an electric charger for a vehicle, does this expedite that as well?
This will expedite that as well, because yes, a lot of times we do see that after the fact. So whether it's a minor permit or an over-the-counter permit, we actually already have that built in. We can utilize that as well to get the customer in and out for that.
Thank you.
Any online? And online, what's your pleasure, board? There it is up there in front. They jump at once.
He's got to sign in. I'm going to get it this time again.
That's something I'm gonna complain about this right now. It keeps just that little bit of presentation. I had to go back and sign in again. So we need to extend those so they don't go blank in a couple minutes.
Yeah,
So,
that's what mine's doing.
yeah, mine too. I had to re-sign in, so we need to change that because we
Yeah.
can't take time to keep doing that.
Yeah, that's right.
But other than that, it's working okay. Huh, Rob?
It is.
Did yours go that blank too?
No, it's okay.
Oh, mine was.
Yeah.
It went out and so did theirs. Okay, we got a motion by anybody?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
How come it ain't doing nothing there? Oh, oh, it
don't
says
see
waiting,
anything.
okay. Oh,
that is mine go very. Oh, yeah, just tap on it, finger.
oh. Oh, there's the sleep.
Nice job, Rob.
All right.
Yeah,
And then I would also wait to show the status of the votes. Roll call.
Yeah.
Does that make sense in case we're still voting, then we know how someone else voted?
Okay, you guys, time to vote? But well, 3 have voted. Who hasn't voted?
That is not.
No, letter's not here. It says 3 of 5 voted. Brett, Rob, David, you have
pulling
it.
Up right now.
Oh,
It went off of that.
oh,
screen.
his went off.
Hold on.
You put it to sleep, David. Got it?
Community and development.
You know what is. This is fine.
Stand up in it.
Got it? And he's voting now. Okay, roll call? No, letter's out, so we put that when we do the roll call. Roll call, please.
Yes.
There is no absent. There's recuse
It'd be
and
abstain.
abstain. We're good with this abstain?
Yeah.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes,
Vote passes 4-0.
thank you. Letty
you.
stepped out for a
Thank you,
minute.
Jamie.
Okay, 6G.
6G, discussion and consideration of approval to authorize the Department of Human Resources to amend the position allocations for org key 04064 within the sheriff's office as listed on the agenda.
Morning.
Morning, Chairman, Board, Roman Noriega, Human Resources. The position allocation for the additional administrative assistant and deputy sheriff is part of our homelessness task force, and I have Sheriff Pogue here to answer any specific questions that you might have.
Move to.
Got any questions? Seeing none. Any public comment? Seeing none. Online? Seeing none. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Waiting to vote. There we go. Vote. Everybody's voted. Roll call, please. We're getting this down.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras, I don't have a vote for you.
Says
Yeah, I
did.
pulled the item up.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes,
Vote passes 4-0.
funny, it says that you did. 6H.
6H, discussion and consideration of approval of an
There she
updated
is.
computer internet use policy and Child Internet Protection Act policy for the Madera County Library.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm Krista Riggs, Library Director for Madera County Library. As a member of a 10 library system consortium, San Joaquin Valley Library System, Madera County Library qualifies for the E-rate program through the Federal Communications Commission. This program provides discounts on internet access, broadband connections, basic maintenance, and other telecommunication hardware and services. In order to qualify for the E-rate discounts, the library must remain compliant with the Children's Internet Protection Act, or CIPA. CIPA was enacted by Congress in the year 2000 to address concerns about children's access to potentially obscene or otherwise harmful content online. There are three main components to remaining compliant, which is number one, the Internet Safety Policy. The number two is the Technology Protection Measure, which is handled through filtering through our consortium. And the third one is announcement at a public meeting or hearing, which is why we're here today. Upon the request of the Library Consortium, Madera County Library has revised its internet safety policy and CIPA policy to maintain compliance. I'm here for any questions or concerns about that.
Any questions from the board members? Seeing none. Any from the public? Any from online?
Mr.
None.
Chairman, I just have a question. In regards to, the rules in terms of, what's considered inappropriate, who makes that determination? Is the consortium or some?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the filters are set up through the consortium to block certain words and phrases that might be potentially harmful. They sometimes block things that are not, that are safe. And in that case, all of our staff can enter a password to provide access to that material, but we err on the side of caution and block it first and then look at it if it's something that is fine.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay, got it, buddy?
Mhm. Got it.
Okay. We said any online, right? None?
There's nobody online
And
that
nobody
has a
here.
comment.
Okay. What's your pleasure?
Oh, it was
Got
nice
it.
job, buddy. I was up too
Yeah.
high. I've gotta.
These people are getting trigger happy. Okay. Ready to vote? Dave and Rob?
Hold on, I keep switching back and forth.
There we are. Okay, roll call, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Portress.
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler,
Absolutely.
vote passes 5-0.
Okay, 6I.
Thank you. 6I, presentation of the Madera County Madera County Library Annual Report for fiscal year 2021, 2022.
Got backup with it.
No, we'll do that.
Okay, Krista, sorry.
So good morning again, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, Krista Riggs, Library Director. I'm thrilled to share with you Madera County Library's annual report for the fiscal year 2021, 2022, including a progress report on our library strategic plan. Our team has been working really hard, and I'm very proud of all of them and all that they've accomplished. After conducting community conversations in our service areas, we used recurring themes to draft a new community-driven strategic plan, which helps guide our priorities and decision-making. The mission that came from those conversations of our library is to strengthen communities by providing a place for everyone to connect, learn, and grow. Our vision is the library at the center of a thriving and connected community. And our values that our team voted on, and it was almost unanimous, are honesty, ethics, accountability, respect, and teamwork, which spell heart.
Almost unanimously?
Almost unanimous. We had a couple other options in there that people voted on.
They wanted health, so it had said hearth,
Yes.
right? Like, so it's like the,
Yeah. From the community conversations, also 4 main focus areas arose and became clear, which are focusing on teens and young adults, reaching more of our rural and Spanish-speaking communities, really focusing our efforts to improve our website and online presence, and emphasizing the library as a resource hub in each community. That's something that we already do, but in talking with our communities, we realized that not everybody realized that's also part of what the library does. So we just want to increase that awareness. Highlights from the past year, of course, rolling out our bookmobile, which we're having so much fun with. We're very grateful for that. We have regular routes to Raymond, Course Gold, Lavina, and Cedar Creek Senior Living, and we continue to expand that. Just from April to June, we had already traveled over 1,600 miles in the van. We're putting it to good use. The creation of teen advisory boards at 2 of our locations gave teens more of a voice and increased their involvement in library programming and collection development, which led to an increase in teen programming during the summer reading program. One example of that is our STEAM Equity Project at our Chowchilla Branch Library. This was one of only 12 libraries in the whole country to receive this grant from American Library Association. And Chowchilla is able to feature traveling interactive exhibits and programming based on science, technology, engineering, arts, and math for the community. Another grant that we received was the Community Connections Grant, and this is really helping us to increase that awareness of community resource hubs from the strategic plan. And we were one of 10 libraries in the state to receive this grant, and it allowed us to create designated areas in each location to share information about the services and resources available in our communities. And those pictured are Madera and Chowchilla. We also continued our popular robotics program here in Madera, which is a feeder program for the competitive one that the schools do. It teaches kids up to age 14 the fundamentals of coding, engineering, and other concepts that they put to use in friendly competitions with other groups around the state. In November, they went to Buchanan High School in Clovis and competed there. And then these are just some graphs showing our circulation trends. The ground zero there is when we closed for COVID. And you can see we've had a steady climb since, a little bit of a dip in September of 2020, which we attribute to the Creek Fire. You can especially see it in North Fork and Oakhurst, but since then we've had a steady rebound and it continues to grow. And this is another page just showing similar. The Madera Library has the largest circulation of 35% of countywide circulation. Oakhurst is just right behind with 34%. And then the other three branches also fare very well. Madera and Oakhurst are the two branches that are open 6 days a week. So I think that also contributes to the higher circulation there. And then just our financials, which is part of the annual report. And we just want to say thank you for your continued support, the Board of Supervisors and our county administration for the continued support of our library and our team. Any questions?
You've done a
comments?
great job. Even in the face of COVID and everything, you've just continued to power forward. And we were in agenda review with another grant coming in. You're just so active. So I just want to thank you from the residents of Madera County and specifically District 1. Everything you've done, we've felt how well you run our library. We're lucky to have you.
Thank you, but it is my team
and
also. My
that's-
team works
and I
so
know-
hard, so.
I know that you never
on
take
their
any credit.
behalf,
So I'm
I
gonna
will
give it.
take-
I'm gonna give it to you regardless.
you.
And I knew that would be followed up immediately with that, and that's why you can tell that your team is happy, and you can see that there's a dedication to the library. So, thank you.
Thank you. We have a great team and we're grateful for your support.
Any other board comments? Any from the public? Do we want to accept this annual report? Anybody?
I'll move to accept it.
Regina? Do we accept that or
Is it an action?
there's no action? Okay.
Let's just check the presentation,
6J.
Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
6J, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Mid Valley Disposal as listed on the agenda.
Good morning, buddy. Still morning, right? We got 10 minutes.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Jared Carter, Public Works. Yes, the item before you this morning is for a contract with Mid Valley Disposal. As you're probably aware, they provide service for the city of Chowchilla and Madera. And so this agreement is essentially an agreement for them to utilize the Fairmead landfill for the disposal of that waste. This will run beginning January 2023 through 2027. Couple of highlights. We've updated or increased the tipping fee for their agreement. And we've included also a 90-day cancellation clause in the contract that we can cancel within 90 days with no cause.
I know it's in the backup, but would you announce the difference in the pay, what it was and what it is now?
Sure. So currently their rate is about $24.60 a ton for municipal waste. Beginning January 1st, it will be $27.50 a ton. So that's about 11, almost 12% increase.
Okay.
And then it will increase automatically by 50 cents a ton starting the new fiscal year, July 1st. And then thereafter, every fiscal year, it'll adjust by CPI over the life
okay,
of the
good.
contract.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members? Any from the public? Any from the online?
None online.
Okay. What's your pleasure, board?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, we got that. Everybody vote? Voted? Everybody voted? Yep. Okay, roll call, please.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you for getting that worked out. Okay. 6K.
6K, second reading to adopt an ordinance amending section 10.36.010 of the chapter 10.36 of the Madera County Code, by adding subsections O and P thereto, establishing parking restrictions on the remaining portion of Business 41 and on the portion of Avenue 12.
10.
Thank you. Move. Did you want to
No, I'm good.
public comment? We've already gone through it. And thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Any public comment?
available for any questions.
Any online? The pleasure. Waiting. Ah,
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, you did. You got second.
Barely.
Got a racehorse up here.
Bunch of kids.
New toy, buddy. Okay, vote. Everybody voted. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler,
Yes.
vote passes 5-0.
Will you send this to
What-
the Rolling Hills Homeowners Association?
Yeah, I was just gonna let you know, members of the board, we've already worked on preparing notices to all those businesses that will go out.
Great.
We'll be in contact with CHP to make sure they understand the new no parking zone and the effective date. And then we will also get information out on, to the community as well.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
6L. Up again?
6L, Solid Waste Management System Evaluation is listed on the agenda.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Jared with Public Works again. This item is for a contract with Reftelis Financial Services in regards to the evaluation and assessment of the solid waste program for the county. As you recall, during our public workshop last year, I guess earlier this year, we talked about doing a comprehensive analysis of the program and looking into all that goes into that and as well as financials. And so we did, solicit requests for proposals. We selected Reftelis. Some of the highlights I would say of their proposal that we were, very pleased to see were the amount of community outreach and meetings that they're proposing to perform in various different ways, whether it be in person, online, one-on-one interviews, and then also the benchmarking to look at how our program operates and is financed in comparison to neighboring and other counties that are similar to ours. So we're excited to get this work started. I know that you have seen some of the work from Reftelis already in the initial analysis that they did earlier. And we are pleased that we can move forward with these folks and get into more detail on this. So available for any questions.
Any question from the board? Any from the public?
None online.
Any? We
Just
got one?
One online, just a moment.
Online.
All right, can you hear me?
We can
Yes.
hear you, Dan. Go ahead.
Dan Metz from Oakhurst. If I understand correctly, the contract with Reftelis provides for 4 public meetings. And if I understand that correctly, 2 of those are for input purposes and 2 are probably for reviewing the results of their work and getting final input. If it would be possible, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask that be increased to 6 meetings instead of 4 to allow for 2 input meetings in East County and however many are necessary in the Valley area. Part of the logic is that we have widespread communities with travel distances and time. And so it would be sensible to me to have at least 2 input meetings, one in the Oakhurst area, perhaps one in Coarse Gold or YLP, or perhaps in North Fork. So if that would be possible, we'd like to ask that the contract be amended to allow for 6 meetings instead of 4.
I'm just gonna ask for myself, but we'd have to renegotiate the contract to do that.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think my recommendation would be to allow Mr. Metz to finish any additional comments he may have, and then I'm happy to address the question.
Okay.
If that's
Any
okay.
other, Dan?
No, I think that covers it for now, just those two comments or that one comment.
One comment, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna, any other public comment? Closing the public comment on this. Back to staff.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Treber, Chief of Development Services. And as Mr. Metz knows, right, we have monthly meetings with him and the folks up there. I don't see that, changing significantly, at least. Initially, my request would be that, we get direction, if it's the board's will to approve this contract. I certainly do not want to see us negotiating this contract on the fly here in the board. But there is a process for amendments. This is a living, breathing document. And we're going to be working through a number of those things. So at this point, my recommendation would be to approve this contract as is. But we certainly hear the public and would welcome any direction the board may have to look at increased public opportunities as a part of this work too.
If I may comment, can you hear me?
I closed it. So we can't do that right now, Dan. So,
All righty.
board members, any comments? Seeing none. Okay, what's your pleasure? We got a motion and a second. Everybody vote.
I think with that motion probably carries with it that as much public input as possible and getting it up there is very important. I think there's direction.
Yes, absolutely. We will do that and we'll work with our consultant again to ensure as much and if need be, we'll be before the board for a contract amendment. Our goal is to not see this, right? It's a substantial amount of dollars, but it's needed. And so we certainly support that. But we'll look for some savings throughout that to increase the scope for additional public involvement and input as noted by the board and the public.
Yeah. And also where they meet with them once a month.
Yeah.
And the ones that's mostly concerned, they meet with us regularly, and so that they'll get a lot of input that way. So, okay, roll call, please.
Supervisor Portress?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
6M.
6M, California Department of Aging Access to Technology Program as listed on the agenda.
Good morning.
No.
Push right in the middle of the speaker. There it is.
Okay. Okay, sorry. So I'm Deborah Martinez, Director of Social Services. Good morning, Chairman and Board of Supervisors. I'm here seeking approval to accept an unanticipated grant amount of $304,665 to help assess and referred clients for IT-related services in terms of tablets and instruction. A lot of our elderly and disabled adults are having trouble with technology, as we all know. And then at this point, it's very difficult to work in our society in terms of making medical appointments and seeking other services without a good understanding of the use of our cell phones and our tablets. So the idea is to serve up at least 72 individuals that are being referred by our departments like in-home supportive services or adult protective services to assist them with technology, to provide their technology if necessary, and to provide instruction on that.
Perfect.
There's a lot of folks that are getting, scammed in terms of they're not understanding that it's really not the IRS or Social Security that's contacting them. And part of the instruction would be is about protection.
It's amazing how many scams out there. I get 3 or 4 a day now, even
Yep.
on weekends at night.
Same here.
It's just crazy.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Crazy right now. And there's so many vulnerable people out there. It's just amazing. Okay, any comments from the board members? Yes,
she
go ahead.
kind of answered, thank you, Deborah. So aside from IHSS and your program, is there a way that we could help promote that? Do you have any information to help promote it?
Part of the grant, because when we saw it come out as an opportunity, we requested the funds, and our proposal is to have marketing materials.
Oh,
So I said the focus would be IHSS and Adult Protective Services because of those we know already.
Mhm.
But we are going to be taking referrals from our community, and we will have marketing materials out there.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I just have a comment.
No
Thank
problem.
you so much for bringing this up. And I think it was about a month ago, and Assembly Member Patterson had a aging fraud type of thing going on that was promoted in well, I guess in Fresno or his district. And it was it was either a morning or an afternoon or an all day sort of thing where people gathered. And so I think that might be something that's, appropriate as well, to kind of really promote it
forum.
and get people in and however we can do it. Because it's I spent 39 years in the banking industry, and I can't tell you how many times I saw, fraud, and it's interesting. People reach a certain
Amazing.
age, and it's kind of like 20 years prior, they would have never, ever fallen for something like this, but there's something that happens, and I don't know what it is, and I hope I don't experience it, but, but yeah, exactly, that people fall for these things that would, it's just kind of, what were you thinking?
Well,
know,
I've
s-
kind of fallen for it a couple of times when I start to respond to something, then realize, oh no, that's not really legitimate.
Well,
Because it's very difficult to
they're-
identify them.
For
They're
convincing.
highly organized now too, where it's basically like they're just reading off
click on a
of a
link.
script, right? That
Mhm.
is just, that is designed to get people to trust them it's like a sales pitch, but
Yeah.
as a scam, like it's,
Yeah, it becomes very sophisticated.
yeah.
There we are. But I really do appreciate the suggestion, Supervisor Petros. I really like the idea of
Mhm.
doing kind of an opening forum just to talk about adult services, period.
Right.
And adult protective services, and then include the technology involving our community and our CBOs, kind of as an opening to the acceptance
Right.
of these funds.
We can make a big deal out of it. I mean, there's
I like
a
it.
lot of venues here, at the fairgrounds or
Yeah.
Burgon Center and different places. So,
Oker.
yeah, Oakers. Oh, yeah, all over the county. Right, right.
We have our
yeah,
Emerald Conference Room that's quite large, so I really like that, and we'll do it,
Gotcha.
assuming this gets approved.
You need
Unfortunately,
something
a lot of
like,
the people don't trust the government either, so they're like,
I know. They're going, I'm not going over there.
Well, maybe if we have him on our campus, they'll realize it's us.
Yeah.
It really is.
it's like my son, Dad, he says, quit sending those to me. He says, just delete them. He says, they're all fake. So I sent them to him. I opened a couple of things. And I think that's how I lost my
What-
Facebook account, because they blackballed me.
You got hacked.
that's not why you lost your Facebook account. so.
No, I never-
Vote, please.
It isn't funny, but it is funny sometimes.
But he said, just delete.
One good
those.
thing, if the email, like if it's saying that it's coming from your bank or whatever,
Yeah.
like click on the sender, and a lot of times it'll like, you can tell by the name of the email,
Oh,
it's
really?
coming from some weird thing that doesn't
Yeah.
say like
I
at
just forwarded to him.
Amazon.com or whatever. Just look at that.
That's good
an
to
easy
know.
way to-
Okay. Okay, any public comment on this? Yes. Come on up. State your name, address, your phone number, single, married, the whole works, buddy. So, yeah, we're gonna scam you right now. Good morning.
Morning, good morning. My name is Brandon Gerard Robichaud, ROBICHAUD. New, very new, 5-month resident of Madera County. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for hearing me. In relation to the program that she has for the grant, I would recommend that you also looking into Union of Domestic Workers for America. These are at-home care facility people who take care of elderly, disabled, small children, with families where they may not have the access to be able to go out and do their own grocery shopping, all that other good stuff. Could possibly link with the UDW with these at-home care workers and then provide them instruction on how to provide elderly instruction on these devices. So that way they could,
Great idea.
again, it's teach somebody who's going to be in the house already, have a meeting with them, have a training session with them, and then push that information out to whatever homes that they go to.
Yeah.
And let them know that we're here as a resource as well for the UDW as well as the elderly.
Thank you. Brandon, are you a war veteran?
I am, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for
well,
your
thank you.
survey. Thank you.
Thank you for your support and thank you for your service to the community and what you guys are doing. I know it's more volunteer than it is anything else. Thank you again. Any questions for me?
No. Thank you so much for coming up and do that, and welcome to the best community in the whole state of California.
Yeah,
Right
I
here.
love it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any online? Did you have
None
something
online.
else you want to say, Deborah? Okay. What's your pleasure, board? Oh, we already, boy, they're way ahead. Man.
Click, click.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like Jeopardy.
Yeah, right.
What is?
Waiting for you, Letty.
What is second?
Yeah. Okay, roll call, please.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
and Chairman Wheeler.
Yes, and that had to be 4 votes required to make that
Vote
happen.
passes
so
5-0.
Thank you. Okay. Hour and a half late, but we're gonna do the item number 7, public hearings now.
Introduction of an ordinance to consider the development agreement for APN 059-200-020 Fagundes at Bass Lake. Waive the reading and set the second hearing for December 13th, 2022.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jamie Bax again with Community and Economic Development. This is an introduction of an ordinance which accompanies a development agreement. There will be 2 public hearings as a part of that development agreement tonight at the Planning Commission, and we'll bring that recommendation back to you at the second reading of this ordinance on next Tuesday, the 13th. As for that, the development agreement extends the map for 10 years. And I'm available for any questions. The applicant is also here to answer any questions you might have on the ordinance.
all I can say is just I'm happy it's moving forward. We passed this a few years ago and sold this piece of property, and then I can't wait to see what happens. Any other members here? Want to say anything? Okay, I'm gonna open this up to the public. Anybody from the public have anything to say on item 7A? I'll close the public, oh, any online? I'm gonna close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
There's someone.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Right, hey, come back. You didn't say your name. Leroy.
Norman Allender Fagundes Dairy, also
Okay.
known as Leroy.
There's nobody online.
Nobody online. Okay, we put that up on the screen. I make a motion,
Need to close.
and I know it's
Got it.
not on
Okay.
mine.
What was the public hearing?
Oh, I closed it already.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is. Got it.
Not even close.
Voting, Letty?
Oh.
I can see it now. You do it. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
and Chairman Wheeler.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank
I got
you.
carpal tunnel trying to ring in, so I had to stop.
All right. Item 7B, public hearing.
Hearing to consider an adoption of a resolution establishing increased water service rates and levying the increased rate within the Matrix District 7 Marina View.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Andrea Saldati, Deputy Director with Public Works. This rate is a rate that was currently, well, it was previously in place for a 3-year term. And what this rate does is it helps mitigate a compliance order that MD7 currently has by the state. The state has agreed to allow the use of, they're called POUs, point of use devices that are installed in each of the homes. As long as we continue with those POUs installed in the homes, they will allow for the compliance order to be lifted for another 3-year term.
Oh, okay.
With that, we have to reset the rate for another 3-year term. The state has required additional testing through this 3-year the initial 3-year term that they had. And so that's the main driver of the rate increase. We currently have 4 protests. They are active protests. They are authorized. But in total, we would need 46 protests to not be able to move forward with the rate. So at this point in time, it is our recommendation to move forward with the rate increase as listed in the resolution.
And if they can protest today if they're here or online, right?
It has to be a written protest during this public hearing. We have received 4, and again, they are valid protests, but we would need 46.
Right. If they can do it right now.
Yes, they can.
Okay, board members?
Yeah, I got involved in this for a little bit, and I just want to say, this is just again, an example of staff working with the residents to get to different solutions. The point of use was brought up. It was not originally okayed by the state, and working with the state and the residents to get to an outcome that was
Agreeable.
less expensive, and then still having people where they can have clean drinking water. I just want to say, I just kind of put that back out there again, just how much our staff does work with the residents and listen and then advocate on their behalf with the state. So thank you. Very proud to work with all of you.
Absolutely. Any other board members? None? Well, okay, this is the public hearing. I'm gonna open the public hearing now. Has anybody got anything they want to say about this or complain? Are you okay? Okay. Have we got any online? It's,
None online.
None online. So I'm gonna close the public hearing again and bring it back to the board. 7B. The race is on. Okay, roll call, please.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler,
Yes.
vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Everyone's gonna have a cursor screen burned into it, trying to keep it in the same location to be able to.
Item 8, pending legislation. Seeing none.
There isn't any,
We have one,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
there isn't any chairman, but the governor's going to call a special session of the legislature. Unfortunately, I don't know what it's about yet.
Actually, I know what
So,
it is.
I can think of a number of things that it could be, but
Yeah.
we got that notice Friday. I was out of the office yesterday.
None of which are probably good for us.
Right. Most likely. Okay, supervisor and staff reports, Mr. Dave,
Yes, I attended the RHA.
Mr. Brett.
A couple things. One, great event out, Christmas tree lighting at Tesoro Viejo, Riverstone and the Ranchos this past weekend. And then tomorrow in these chambers is going to be the San Joaquin River Conservancy. It'll be my last meeting. Whoopee, whoopee, whoopee.
Yeah.
But so that'll
done a
be
heck
here
of a
if
job.
anybody's interested in it. And I think I had one. Oh, and then just again, a reminder, tomorrow is the Pearl Harbor Day out at Tesoro Viejo
Right.
and Letty's birthday.
Okay.
Oh, and coffee and conversation next week,
Oh,
next Wednesday, the
Thank you.
last one of those too.
Last one
Usually,
you got.
I usually wait until the second week, but
You have to have a, yeah, as the assessor, you have to do that
I
once
know.
in a while.
I'm
Inform
going
us
to.
for what I need to know about assessing my land, buddy.
I'm going to.
Oh, okay, good.
We're gonna have you in the office all the time because it's going
Trying to
up.
pick
very
me up,
quickly.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy week. I don't know if we talked about going to CSAC. We all went to CSAC and, then we had that, Christmas tree lighting there. I went up to the Oakhurst, community, Christmas tree sale they have every year for the Boys and Girls Club, and it raised around $80,000, I've heard so far. And including the sheriff's deal, the money we had for them. And then I don't know if you go out there and look at that, I can see it right through here on the wall out there. There's that 1914 hand painted Madera County map of Madera County and all the landowners. Well, Bob King, who has passed away, he found that he used to have the garbage contract for cleaning all the old board rooms and stuff over there with the, I don't know what's there now, but we had a courthouse and everything out there. And he found that in the dumpster and brought it out. And when I won the campaign the first time in 206, he said if I would spend the money to buy the plastic and everything, he'd give me that. So I did that and we put it up there, but he passed away a couple years ago, and his beautiful wife, who was a teacher up there for 100, not 100 years, not that old, so I better not say that. But Meg King is a great lady, and she married one of my good friends from North Fork, Doug Yearling, Sunday, and I went to that wedding. It was just really nice to see she's happy, and I'm just happy to be friends with both of them. And I know, Bob, you're in heaven, and wishing your wife the best in the world. So, and then maybe that was Saturday afternoon. I missed it. Anyway, it was Saturday afternoon the wedding was up at the Course Code Community Center. Letty.
Yes, thank you. I also attended the CSAC conference, and I was voted in as the rural representative for the Women's Caucus. So I'll be representing Madera. And then I just wanted to announce, in addition to the Pearl Harbor Day ceremony tomorrow, there's also a candlelight vigil that is going to be taking place at Courthouse Park tomorrow at 3:30. And it's the Behavioral Health Department in conjunction with the District Attorney's Office. And it is the first annual vigil to honor the victims of drunk or drugged drivers. And so that's at Courthouse Park, 3:30 tomorrow, if anyone
Yeah.
can be there. And that's it.
Saturday, and he's getting married Saturday. Whoopee, whoopee, whoopee.
Yeah, there'll be a small wedding ceremony on Saturday.
Right. Mr. Rob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tomorrow I'll be in Sacramento for the last RCRC meeting of the year. Second of all, for those of you who have not had a chance, I would really encourage you to visit the Madera County Historical Society Museum,
Yes.
also known as the Old Courthouse. I had a chance to go to the event last Sunday night, and it is just gorgeous. They've done a lot of work, and it's really special. So for those of you who have never been there, they're open, I think Tuesday through Saturday evenings or Tuesday through Friday. You can Google it and check out the schedule from 5 to 8 o'clock, I believe, but it is something else, what they've done. And the last thing is last Tuesday, I attended a California Council of Governments meeting, a planning session and regular meeting. And I moved up in the ranks to the first vice president, and then next year I'll be the chair of CalCog. And, that's not something that I'm looking at as a resume builder for obvious reasons, but it's more about having valley representation and regional representation for the entire state of California. The Council of Governments is made up of some huge major council of governments from Southern California and the Bay Area and San Diego and these other, and we represent in our area about 4.5 million people. So we're about 12-13% of the population. So I look at that.
You gotta fight.
Yeah, exactly. In a position to be able to do that. And so again, it's not takes a while to get there, but it's again, I'm not it's not one of these things like, hey, I can put this on my resume and this and this. Well, at age 66, you're not so worried about those sorts of things, but it's more about representing the transportation interests here in the San Joaquin Valley. And I'll tell you, it's going to continue to be a fight. Next year, Assemblymember Friedman, who brought up some really draconian legislation that fortunately was either modified or canceled last year, is going to be roaring back with a vengeance. And so we're going to have to be hitting it hard through our Regional Policy Council as well as CalCog to modify those assembly bills. It's going to be ugly. It's not going to be good for our county.
Everybody got to remember that we're so minor, our RCRC and our COG, our Valley COG here, compared to the rest of the state, fighting with them. And we have to have a loud voice up there because otherwise we do not get those dollars.
We're just gonna
period.
get rolled over. Yeah.
If we don't get, I don't know what's gonna happen with Measure T again, if we're gonna put it on again. If we don't get that, we're screwed, dude, and tattooed. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yep.
Our roads. You know, a lot of people complain to me about for the tax going forever. I told them all, so you don't think our roads don't get bad forever? With more electric cars, more fuel economy cars, we don't have the money to keep those roads up. So if we don't have a continuous income of some sort, like I said, we're screwed, dude, and tattooed.
Right. The people that voted against this, it's like they were part of a circular firing squad. Let's kill ourselves.
Right.
You know, rather
exactly.
than looking at what Sacramento's taking away from our region and putting in other areas. It's like, oh, but let's really double down and kill Measure T and shoot
Right.
ourselves.
Shoot ourselves in the foot so we
Yep.
can have all our bad roads. So
Yep.
thank you, all you people voted no. Jay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Want to let the board know that through the board's good work and staff's good work, our S&P rating has changed from AA- with a negative outlook to AA- with a stable outlook. So that's a very good thing.
Thanks to all of you.
We waited a little bit to let you know that because it had to be published before we could put it out in a public meeting, but that's very, very good news for us. And I will be in Monterey for part of the day, Thursday, participating at a panel of League of Cities has, their finance folks has a meeting, and I'm participating with myself, another city manager or two, and a vendor about public-private partnerships and protecting your IT infrastructure. So we've done a good job of that here, and I was asked to just offer a few comments on that, and that'll be back Thursday.
Perfect.
That's it.
Regina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just one presentation that I'll also be doing on new laws is Senate Bill 1439. That is some rules that have to do with campaign contributions. And there are some look back and look forward provisions in there that the FPPC, a lot of comments back. And so the FPPC is meeting and doing a special meeting this month. And so on December 20th, I will be talking about Senate Bill 1439.
Thank you. Miss Karen.
I would like to thank Sarah Anderson for all of her hard work that she has done over the past year for Prime Gov. We appreciate you, Sarah. You've worked very hard. Lots of weekends, lots of nights, and
Yeah.
today was a very successful meeting. Little clunky, but we did it and it was successful and no real
It was.
glitches. I'd
Absolutely
also
was.
like to thank my staff as well. They too have been working a lot of late nights. So I appreciate you. David, we appreciate you, David, as well, and all of IT. So thank you, team. Thank
I
you
mean,
all.
you guys pulled this off. I mean, I tell you. We had a special, just a meeting doing the agenda for this meeting last week, and they were scared to death. I mean, just didn't know if this was gonna work. And, you know, some of our, just so everybody knows, some of our department heads help and participate, and some of them don't, which really ticks me off. But I'm gonna let the other board member worry about that next year. But, you know, when they don't participate and we have these very technical things like this, which is way over my head anyway, but they need to be part of this. This is really important. And if you don't get your, as long as I'm here still running this, if you don't get your stuff in on time, you will not be on our next agenda. So I'm not gonna beat around the bush about it. Hope you guys carry that on next year. So
Speaking of that, when would you like agenda review?
in about, well, let's see, I might have, is that Taco Deal out there?
I've got a
12:30? Okay, let's do it at, how long, 1 hour? Oh, okay, 1:30. Is that okay with everybody? Thank you, everyone. And thank staff and everything. We got this done. I appreciate it. And we got the new system working. Thank you. Bye.